Hello and good evening if you are here. Um, sorry, um, it's taken a little while to get this set up, and you know, life is not always a box of chocolates, but you know, things we've had better days in the world. So anyway, here we are. Anyway, we get here. We've eventually made it work. So there we go. Um, yes, it's me, myself, and I today. There will be no interruptions in the background because I do not need interruptions in the background. I do apologize for the interruptions in the background last night. They were unnecessary, and I realized many of you didn't like the interruptions in the background, and I apologize for those. That's where I should begin. Let me say I don't want interruptions on my program from other people ever again. It's not going to happen. I won't allow anyone else to do it ever again. It's not going to happen. And, we've had a number of days of that kind of activity that will not be happening ever again. And I don't know where I'll be broadcasting from next, but I am planning on making my way somewhere else because that is what I need to do for my own sanity, my own sense, my own sensibility, because I cannot keep being interrupted by anybody. This is not a thing that will work anymore. But anyway, cheers to everybody, including Lady Min. But I am not capable of having people interrupt my program like this because we all know the dangers of what happens to programs that get interrupted. So, especially with certain kinds of comment. So, I'm not going to be allowing any more of that to go on my channel because I'm building this channel up and you're all enjoying it. And I don't need for your enjoyment to be taken away because of stupid people making stupid comments in the background. And that is very, very important to me. Yes, sometimes one gets to the end of one's tether, says Amanda. I totally agree. And that is how I feel at the moment. People can be people and do what they wish, and they can think it's a bit of a joke and a bit of a jape, but no, I cannot have my program ruined by stupid people making stupid remarks in the background and then thinking it's funny or pretending they never ever said them when they did. So, no, we won't have any more of that. Anyway, enough of that. It's boring, absolutely dull. We're at 20:01, so we've got a bit of time for a few people to come in. Hello and good evening to you all. I will try and keep going. I'm not in the best of spirits, but there we are. Right, but I haven't had any spirits, which is a great shame. I wish I'd had a gin and tonic, but someone drank all the gin. It's long gone. Right. What infringes on one's liberty is game over. Well, there we are. Right. Good evening. Listening to you on a drive back from the Highlands. Oh, you've been in the Highlands. I love Scotland, the best place on the planet. Absolutely love Scotland. Fabulous. I love Inverness, Forest, Elgin, Dornoch, Altnahara, all those places up there. Yes, I love it. I do love the west coast of Scotland very much too, Oban, and especially Mull and Iona and Stafford and all those places too. They're absolutely glorious. So Scotland is in my heart, I will say. If I could be anywhere, I'd be in Scotland. And I'd love to go and try and see whether I could go and live in one of these islands. But my friends all seem to think it'd be better if I went and lived in Edinburgh. But Edinburgh is a fabulous city, but I don't want to live in a city. I've done cities. I don't want to live in London ever again. I'm bored of London. I'm not bored of life, but I'm not bored of London, so to speak. It's just London has changed so much. It's not for me anymore. So I would rather be in Scotland, I think, yes. Now Nicola Sturgeon's no longer in charge. Much better. Right. You see that Sean Atwood's sidekick, Ron, has exposed Surjit. Exactly what you said a few weeks ago. This is Moonbeep. Yes, I do note that this afternoon, Mr. Swanson referenced how Mr. Surjit Sinclair is no longer the representative of the woman who's called Julia on a Monday, whatever her name is on a Tuesday. We don't know. I have made a few notes on what he had to say because I did watch his program, because weirdly it popped up out of nowhere whilst I was sitting in a cafe. I don't normally watch all these things, but it just popped up immediately. So I started watching it, and I became quite fascinated to learn that not only has the Julia Wandell, or whatever her name is on a Monday, lost her PR man, Mr. Serge Sinclair, or whatever he calls himself. She's also lost her lawyer. So she's got a new lawyer. We don't know who her lawyer is. They do. But Mr. Swanson is perfectly polite to me. He sends me messages about other matters. He doesn't send me any messages about her, but he is very polite. I will say I have no personal problem with him, but he is a bit enthusiastic, I would say, for this lunatic, crazy, fake woman, but he is a believer in her, and he's entitled to have his own opinion. I respect his right to his opinion. I think his opinion is a load of old rubbish, but he will say that my opinion is a load of old rubbish. So equally, we are quite allowed to disagree. That is how I feel about the matter. So fake Julia, the most interesting takeaways I got from the program. So obviously the Sinclair is no longer part of her team. That's what he said. He made that very clear. And he seems to know an awful lot. He speaks to her in prison. Her bail trial, which is what the bail attempt, has now seems to have been moved to the 22nd of April, if he is to be believed. I thought it was the 7th of April. Her actual trial will be in August. He is convinced that she will be completely cleared. I think not. No. She is as guilty as sin. She's a pain in the arse. She's a bloody nuisance. She's a bloody disgrace. Throw the bloody book at her. What she has done is an outrage. It's a shameful, terrible piece of behavior. Anyway, right. He said she was relaxed. She's glad not to have access to the internet. It's giving her a bit of peace in her life. Well, maybe that means she can stop stalking people. That might be a good starting point for the little madam, mightn't it? She's claimed to be other people before she became to be Madeleine McCann, so she's a complete nutter. Lock her up, chuck the book at her. Anyway, her new lawyer has stripped away representatives who don't have her best interest, and she's still got her little friend called Sheena. I don't know who Sheena is, but Sheena is some kind of little groupie that's been part of her life for a very long time and was involved with her when she was involved with this doctor in America and, Dr. Phil and all that. That is her unit, and that's her deadlock, allegedly. I won't go into all the rest of it. It's very boring. I don't think I should give them the promotion, and I don't want to upset Mr. Swanson, because Mr. Swanson is actually genuinely polite to me. So I will let Mr. Swanson have a bit of peace in that regard. But I will say she claims to be making the most of her situation. She earns £1.50 a day by going to the gym for 2 hours per day. She's one of the top achievers in the system, he said. And she's also got a job. He didn't say what the job was. Of £1.50 a day. She rents a TV. She hates the British food and has a craving for dumplings. This is a girl, a woman, actually a woman, because she is an adult. Let's be honest, this is an adult now. She's not a child. It's not a girl. She's a woman. She's certainly not a lady. That's definitely not for sure. She has a craving for dumplings. She likes looking at the animal murals in the prison and the pink walls in one part of the prison or something. She is crying and she's a bit of a mess, and she's finding it hard to make friends with the inmates because they get moved around, and she's sad when they leave, and it's not fair that her friends are taken away from her. Well, little Miss Muppet, whatever your name is, Julia on a Monday, Petronella on a Tuesday, whatever you're called, Susie on a Wednesday. You could be whatever name you want to be, but you chose to go and harass the McCann family. And I am no fan of the McCann family. And look at my last Talk TV show about the McCann family. I am no apologist for the McCann family. But this woman, not a child. She's not a child. Madeleine McCann was a child when Madeleine McCann vanished. And I'm not going to go into that. Has been comparing herself to Nelson Mandela, a political prisoner. She is not a political prisoner. She's a pest. And as Celia Trillo rightly says, she is a grifter. Yes, completely right. Celia, you get it bang on the nail. This nuisance, and this was not meant to be even a topic I was going to discuss tonight. It just happens that one of you mentioned it just straight away, and I had made a load of notes just out of personal interest for my further articles in the future. Yes, she is appalling. Now, audience, what do you think of Julia moaning that she is like Nelson Mandela? Julia Nelson Mandela. Would you say Julia is the equivalent of Nelson Mandela, a political prisoner? Julia, whatever her name is, Wandell, Wandelt. She uses multiple names. I don't know how they charged her, because I believe she was charged under the name Julia Wandell. She calls herself Julia Wandelt. I don't know what the difference is or why. And then she has other names. It's very hard to track who she is. And it was impossible to find her on CourtServe because obviously it was redacted. So even I couldn't get that. And I'm a member of CourtServe. So I get all court documents, which I had to sign up to a system to get access to such information. Members of the public can't generally get it, but I can get it as a journalist. But we don't know. I don't even know what her name was when she was charged, but I believe it was Wandell. But it could have been Wandelt, because that's one other name she uses. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. whatever her name is. She's a complete mad woman. She's completely a nutcase. TMTB, Mandela was one of a kind. Yes. Does she know Mandela passed away? No, she's saying that she's a political prisoner like he was. That is her allegation. She needs psychiatric treatment. She's nothing like Mandela, says Angela. Yes, I totally agree. The woman is completely nuts. And I do feel sorry for Mr. Swanson because he has been rather taken in by her, but he is entitled to support her. I am not going to try and change his opinion. He wrote to me about the sloths and said that sloths, he agreed with me about my petition, but animals of all kinds get abused, and sometimes it's better to have animals in captivity because it means that more of them live. So that was his view on sloths. So there we go. Anyway, I don't have a problem with Mr. Swanson and his views. He is entitled to his views. She's worse than Markle, comparing herself to Mandela. As an elderly South African, says Moonbeep, I can guarantee Julia knows nothing about Mandela. Serve a couple of decades in a hard labor prison, then talk, Julia. Precisely. Yes, she's been in prison for all of 5 minutes. She doesn't know anything about prison. I know people who've been in prison, such as Mark Alexander, a lovely man who won't admit his guilt. He would have been out by now if he would admit it. Omar Benguit, who would, if he would admit his guilt, would be out by now. But they're innocent people, so they don't admit their guilt. Jeremy Bamber, look at the situation he's been in, and I think people like that are decent people. This Julia chose to get on an aeroplane to come to England to harass a family and harass the people she claims are her brother and sister. But she's 2 years older. She's not the right age. She's not Madeleine McCann. She's a complete nut job. She needs putting in the funny farm. Lock her up. The woman is a disgrace, but we shouldn't have to lock her up in Britain. It's an absolute disgrace that we have to tolerate her because she's not even a British citizen. And this is why she cannot get bail in Britain, is because she is from Poland, and her Polish parents, they have absolutely got sick of this. They are tired of it. They're sick of her. This woman is getting out of control. And now she's still from within prison using people on the internet to grift for her. This is not correct. Now, Mr. Swanson means well, and I have no problem with Mr. Swanson having freedom of expression. But, all of these people going out there speaking on her behalf, this silly little bird is not going to get out of prison. She has committed 4 offenses, and I hope they throw the book at her. He says she is loving the gym. She's going to come out looking buff. She earns £1.50 a day to go for the gym for 2 hours a day. She's one of the top achievers, supposedly. She gets paid £1.50 for doing a job. So she earns £3 a day. She rents a TV, hates British food, and has a craving for dumplings. There we go. She wants dumplings. Dumpling-based dinner is what she wants. Well, don't come to Great Britain. Well, it's not even Great Britain anymore. Under Keir Starmer, the farmer harmer, it's less than Great Britain. Don't come to England, I shall say. She wants her dumpling dinner. Well, if she wants a dumpling dinner, she should have stayed in bloody Poland, shouldn't she? Absolute pest. She's been collecting everything. She's got 12 little jars of marmalade, he said. I don't like them, but I keep them. And she keeps the cornflakes too, even though she doesn't want them. She's weird. This girl is a complete fruitcake. She should probably be on the Harry Hooch. She's an absolute disgrace. Right. Did the guy Swanson suggest something about the parents? He has said various things about various topics, but he never chooses to say anything that is conflicting or direct. Sorry, about the matter. So I'm not going to accuse Mr. Swanson. He is perfectly polite to me. I have no problem with Mr. Swanson. But he does speak with this lunatic, which I have suggested to him, and I have sent him messages saying, the woman is a complete nut job. She should be locked up in the funny farm. She's a freak. She's a fruitcake. She's completely deranged, and she should leave the McCann family alone. He continues to support us, so he makes his position clear, and I make my position clear. I don't agree with his position, obviously, but he is entitled to his position. I'm entitled to mine. I am not going to try and force anyone else to have a particular view on anything in the world. Right. Dumplings can be very tasty, but I don't know how the British jail system is going to cook a dumpling dinner. Precisely. Why should the British jail system cook something that she wants? She is in prison in Britain. She chose to fly into Bristol Airport, so shove it up your jumper, you stupid little madam. You're awful. Absolutely disgraceful how you behaved yourself. So you're not getting a dumpling dinner. Give her some carrot soup. That's all she deserves. I like carrot soup, actually. Right. That's too good for her. Give it to me. I love a bit of carrot soup right now, actually. One of my favorite things. Or a parsnip soup. Oh, yes, I love parsnip soup, especially by Ina Baxter. Don't give her any of that because that'd be wasteful. We don't need to waste anything on her. Right. You remember the guy who campaigned to get Myra Hindley out? Well, that was Lord Longford, and I know Lord Longford's secretary. I saw her just last in December. She's a very strange woman, absolutely off a merry rocker. To dare to campaign to say Myra Hindley should have been treated better. No, the victims of Myra Hindley and her lover should have been treated better. They were the people who deserved to be treated better, not Myra Hindley. Myra Hindley should have been thrown on a bonfire at birth. She was a piece of filth. She was a piece of scum. How dare she do what she did to those poor children? Absolutely disgusting. And it makes me feel sick just to think about it. TMTB wants to make a parsnip soup. Well, that's a nice thing to say. Right. And Mr. Lee Kicker and pumpkin soup from Elaine Harvey and spiced mushroom soup from Linda Jo. Longford was an odd character. Yes, totally agree. Longford was a very, very odd character. Totally disgusting man who apologized for evil people. Don't like that. Would I like to come up to Shropshire for a month? Asks Amanda. Well, maybe I would. I'd love to come and visit Shropshire. That would be nice. In after June. Okay, well, I could come and pay you a visit, Amanda. That would be very nice. That would be very pleasant. I'd love to come and visit you in Shropshire. I don't know Shropshire very well, but I could pay you a visit. Um, Andrea is making or Andrea, I don't know if you're Andrea or Andrea, there are different variations. You're making a curried parsnip and apple soup. Wow. I think I'd love a bit of that. That sounds absolutely fabulous. I love curry, and unfortunately, I've not had any spice in quite a while. Um, Spice would be nice. So yes, I'd love to try that one day soon. Where can you send me some number 3 gin? I will send me an email, editorial at thesteepletimes.com, and I will give me an address. That number 3 gin is the best thing in my life. I love a bit of number 3 gin, and I can't get it here. So anyway, number 3 gin is always welcomed. Right. Right. If I go to Shropshire, you'll all come and visit. Okay. Well, maybe we could have an evening of a program in Shropshire. I don't know. We could begin in Shropshire. There we go. That could be a nice thing to do, because I was asked to do one of these tours with all these people, and and the horrible thing with the Tate brothers and the associates. And I didn't end up doing it, so I could perhaps do my own. There we go. I could do my own, and I could begin in Shropshire. I don't know why Shropshire, but Shropshire is the first place to invite me, so we could begin in Shropshire. I don't know what goes on there. I don't know where in Shropshire we're talking about, but a specific place. But it could be a nice thing to do. Why not? Mr. Lee Kicker likes broccoli and lentil soup. I like broccoli soup. I don't know about lentil. Will I rent somewhere in Shropshire? If I go to Shropshire for a visit, I believe I've been invited, so I'll just go and visit. I don't think I'll be there that long, so there we go. Elaine would like me to go to Edinburgh. Well, I'd love to go back to Edinburgh. And Edinburgh is perhaps somewhere I should possibly really consider going to live, because Edinburgh is my kind of place. I love Edinburgh. It's a fascinating city. I love the fact you've got Arthur's Seat. You can walk up and you've got the Royal Mile, and you've got everything else. And it's just it's a bit like San Francisco. It's compact. You can walk everywhere. The central bits. I know there's a huge conurbation around it, but obviously, if I went to go anywhere, I'd want to be in the center. I'm not going to be in the middle of nowhere, because I like to walk around, and that's how it is. The Tour de France is coming. Yes, the Tour de France is coming to Britain. It's going to be going all over the UK again. So there we are. Isn't that nice? The cyclists will love it. So, have I ever met Alan Bennett? Asks Jane Hennessy. Yes, I have met Alan Bennett. Alan Bennett is one of the most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful writers. Absolutely fabulous. I love Talking Heads. I love The Lady in the Van. I love all the things he did. I won't go into further details, but we'll save that for another day. But no, Alan Bennett is great company and a lovely man to spend time with. And, he's quite elderly now, but he is doing very, very well. And he's a lovely gentleman. I'm very lucky to have known so many wonderful people, because my family were very into interacting with people. So, because of my mother's work and because of my father's work, we met lots of people. We never had a weekend without people. So all the time I grew up with, Sir Alan Walters, the best economist in the world. He would march around our kitchen telling me about economics, and we would have Margaret, and we'd have Dennis, and I grew up with some of the most amazing people in the world. I was extremely lucky and privileged, and they were inspirational. And I don't think the youth of today, and this is where I sound like a real old man, get quite the same thing. The Instagram influencers, they're not quite the same thing, are they, really? No, Margaret and Dennis, they were the best. But look, we had all sorts of people. We had an amazing nurse who came. She was South African. I can't remember her name, but my mother invited her and she came with Desmond Tutu to stay at our house. And she was amazing, and she changed the world. She was one of the first black nurses to ever work in Britain, and she came with Desmond Tutu to our house. And I remember her. That was a very, very long time ago. It's just a random memory I've never even thought of in years. Then we had, everybody from Sir Alan Walters to, Neil Kinnock. Okay, most people didn't like Neil Kinnock, but my mother did, because my mother's a socialist. So, of course, she liked him. And the time we spent with Bill Gates. Bill Gates is an absolutely brilliant man. And all the conspiracy theorists, before you start, Bill Gates is a fantastic man who's changed the world and has cured all sorts of diseases and things. He's given billions. He became a billionaire when he was 31, and he's given most of his billions away. He's a brilliant man. And he met Jeffrey Epstein, but he was not a close associate of Jeffrey Epstein. And Melinda, she's a nice lady, and I remember meeting her. Nice lady, but she shouldn't have been so vicious about him and that. No. Bill Gates, fabulous man, but I've met Omar Sharif. I've met all sorts of wonderful people. I'm a very lucky person and I had Barbara Minto. Barbara Minto, the first woman to go to Harvard Business School, the first woman. She was an orphan. She grew up in an orphanage where she was abused by the horrible people there. Barbara Minto is one of the most amazing ladies on the planet. But most people don't even know of her yet. But when she dies, you will know of her. She's a lady who grew up in an orphanage. And Barbara Minto was a secretary for a man called Cyrus Eaton, who tried to stop the nuclear race. And he nearly won a Nobel Peace Prize, but he didn't. But he nearly did. And he realized how bright she was, so he paid for her to go to Harvard Business School. The men said, "You're taking a place that a man should have." And they got very angry about her. And there were no lavatories for women as a result, so she had to go to a cafe down the street to go to the lavatory. So that was just one part of her story. Not that she complained about it, because Barbara Minto is the kind of person who doesn't do problems like me. She does solutions. So she found the local cafe and she went there instead. So she didn't moan. Anyway, Barbara, the lovely Barbara, and she's the most wonderful lady you'll ever meet. Absolutely fabulous. Big supporter of the theatre, the arts, a huge supporter of charity, absolutely wonderful lady, lives in London, but primarily. Anyway, Barbara became the first woman ever to work as a female consultant for McKinsey, which is a huge company. And again, she was told the same thing: you're taking the place of a man. And it didn't deter her, but they got a bit annoyed and they said, oh, well, this annoying woman, we'll send her to London. So they sent her from Cleveland, Ohio, to London. And in London, they realized again that men in London didn't want women around. So they said, what are we going to do with this woman? And anyway, she wrote a book, and it was called The Minto Pyramid Principle. It is now a book that every single consulting student in the world has to read. It is a fabulous book. I've done the course 5 times. She used to charge £500,000 for 14 students to do the course because McKinsey fired her and then said, well, we'll hire you back to come back and teach people for 3 days. And she had all sorts of criteria before she did it. But I've done that course maybe 3 or 4 times because she liked to test things out on me. And I have to say, it is not my kind of writing because I write journalistically and in a very different way. She writes for business. The Minto Pyramid Principle is one of the most fabulous teaching devices on the planet. Barbara Minto is a wonderful lady, and it's a joy to talk about her. And Barbara Minto should be more widely known. But if you talk to any single person who's in consultancy, they have the book. The book is £350 a copy, and everyone has to buy it. In the consultancy world, it's a standard text, and Minto has made a brilliant life for herself out of a brilliant book. She teaches you that you take an idea at the top and you have to be able to take it all the way down, and you have to be able also to take the idea all the way back up. If you have a question about an issue, you have a single document, and it has to go all the way down and all the way back up. And that's basically the Minto Pyramid Principle summarized in a second. Minto will be furious that I've dared even tried to explain it in this fashion, because Minto would explain it in a far better fashion herself. She is a wonderful lady, and she has a cat, and she's very happy living in Belgravia. And Barbara Minto is a lovely part of my life, and I adore her and think she's fabulous. An absolutely great lady. So we salute her. Right. Oh, Miss Marple and Liberty Caps have both given me a pint. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Enjoy a pint. Okay, that's very generous of you. I didn't expect gifts of a pint. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for your 2 gifts. 2 pints gifted to me. So there we go. Did I live in a stately home? I lived in a very nice home, yes. A very beautiful home in Lancashire as a child. A very lovely home. But I don't live in that home anymore, sadly. Right. Right. You want to get me a chaser? Okay, well, if you want to get me a chaser, please get me a chaser. I'll add that to the world. Thank you for the chaser. Right. I don't know what a chaser, a Chevy Chaser. Yes. I know what a chaser is, by the way, so don't worry. I'm not that stupid. Right. So a pint now is over a fiver. Yes. Okay. Well, you've brought me on to the next topic. Okay. Right. we can have a little chat about the expensive pint, because that was on my list. Mr. Lee Kicker will buy a round in Shropshire. Okay, so we'll get on to the £5.01 pint. Absolutely disgusting, isn't it? Isn't it an outrage? Cheers, Rachel. Rachel Reeves, the queen of beer thieves. That's what I call her now. She is a complete shameless disgrace. Do you remember how this bloody bitch had the cheek to say 5 months ago she'd taken a penny off the price of a pint in the pub, and she advertised the penny off the pint, and now it's the £5.01 drink. What an absolute creep she is. What a disgrace. How dare this shameless harpy, this disgusting, filthy little mare do this to the public? She lied. She's a liar. She's a deceiver. She's a disgrace. She's a degenerate. She makes me want to vomit. She makes me furious. I am so angry with this woman because she went on and on about that penny off the price of a pint. Don't you remember the slogan? Absolutely ridiculous. Now it's going up 21 pence. So she gave you a penny off, and now she's adding 21 on top. Should you be grateful? Or should you tell her to fucking stick it up a fucking jumper? The woman is a disgrace. 21 pence extra. So, the Daily Mail said the average cost of the least expensive pint in Britain currently is in Coventry, £3.89. The most expensive is £6.74 in London. Well, we all know that pints of beer cost a hell of a lot more than that in most places we go to. Sorry, I go to places where it costs a hell of a lot more than £6.74. I can tell you, even in Broadstairs, before I left last September, it was £5.50. So there's no way that £6.74 is the highest price. In London, I've been known to pay at least £7.80, £7.90, £8 for a pint of beer. So it's an absolute load of rubbish that the Daily Mail got this, but this is just an average. So fair enough. I'm not criticizing their stupid little graphic, but it's not the real deal. Yes, MPs pay £3.30. So isn't that fabulous? How nice for them. Wonderful people, eh? There we go. They get to have a bit of fun for a lot less. Not nice people. It costs you £6.75 for a cup of ordinary tea and a tiny piece of cake in Costa's today, says Tea Gum. Well, please don't go to this Costa Coffee, horrible company. I don't like the company. But I'm sure you had a nice time, but there are better places to go. Support the local tea shop, I would suggest. Anyway, right. Right. Anyway. No, I I have to say, save the pubs. Pubs are heart of the communities. Support your local pub. Don't support the Costa coffee. Forget them. Rachel Reeves is the queen of thieves. The rise in the minimum wage, the national insurance, business rate discounts are going down from 75% to 40% in April. Absolutely disgraceful. It makes a mockery of everything that she said. And, it's an increase of 21 pence on the price of a pint. And, when they came into power, they said they were knocking off 1 pence off the price of a pint, as if anyone would be bloody grateful for 1 pence discount. 1 pence. What is Keir Starmer on? He is a vegan and he goes home on a Friday and he doesn't work on a Friday. I don't know what he drinks at home, but the general public might like to have a pint of beer. Shame on him. Absolutely shame on him. So that's the end of that topic. Right. We'll go on to another topic. Now we're on to topics. Right. I think we've got a nice topic here. I thought it was absolutely wonderful today to hear about the story of the Oxfam shop in Chelmsford having a Bible, a Chinese Bible, left on its doorstep. What a wonderful thing. They didn't know what it was, so they didn't know what to do with it. They got a bit confused, but they knew it was worth something because it was very old, because it was circa 1815. So this old book, they couldn't understand it because obviously they didn't understand the word of Chinese. So it ended up going to Bonham's along with some other books that they had also acquired. And the book was valued at £800. So Bonham's said, we'll make an online auction because this is now the way that everything is done. Most people who are rational in the world do things online. This is the way to do your life. You have to conduct your life through online things. And obviously, because there aren't many Chinese people in Chelmsford, you put it online so the entire world can interact. And that is why the world, this is the benefit of the wonderful thing of the internet. And here I am talking to you. I wouldn't be talking to you, would I, if I didn't have the internet? So, I'm talking to people in Canada and I'm talking to people in Carshalton. I'm talking to people in Denver and I'm talking to people in Dagenham. So, that is the great thing of the internet. The internet makes us all connected, the entire world. So they put the Bible on the internet thinking it would go for £800. Well, they put a few other books as well that the same people had left. Well, the £800 estimate was smashed. They got £56,280 for the first Bible written in Chinese. And, Oxfam have made a good profit on that. However, they also had a number of other books. One of them was a first edition of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. They got £16,640 for that. They had an autograph of Dickens. Somebody was very, very generous. What are they left in the carrier bag? Very kind of these people, whoever they were. They got £12,160 for that. They had a first edition of Karl Marx's Manifesto of the Communist Party, £10,880. And they even had a signed copy of Matilda by Roald Dahl. £2,304. So they got over £105,000 for Oxfam. I think that is a fabulous, lovely story. It's a heartwarming, nice, decent story for a change. I like to have a little bit of joy in my life, and that is nice. And Ian Falkingham from Oxfam said, the money raised from these books will go towards helping tackle poverty and inequality across the globe. Absolutely wonderful. What a lovely, delightful story. A contrast to all the bad news we hear every day. Isn't that fabulous? Thank you very much for supporting them. If you have good books and you don't want them anymore, give them to a bookshop like that. Give them to a nice cause and help the world, please. That'd be a nice thing to do. My family have thousands of books because we are bibliophiles, and I'm afraid I don't know how many books I've got. I've got a lot of first editions, but if I die tomorrow, could somebody please make sure they get given to a nice charity, the International Fund for Animal Welfare? So you've got it on record right here and now. Give it to them so they can make some money out of all my expensive books, because I've got a lot of books in storage. There we go. Right. Right. Have we any more questions for me before we go on to our next topic? Right. Right. Okay. What first editions do I have? Lots of Arthur Ransom. Lots of Harold Macmillan's books, actually. Lots of other things. Many books. I'm a big. I'm not quite as much of a collector as my father, but I have quite a lot. I've probably got about 2,000. He's probably got about 200,000. And I don't have any Harry Potter, no. A friend of mine did have a Harry Potter first edition. He threw it in the bin, but that's another story for another time. But no, I'm very into certain kinds of books. Most of the books I collected, or my father collected, you won't even have heard of. People like Peter Scott, son of Scott of the Antarctic. We have all of their books. Things like B.B., who was a very great author. You'd never even heard of. Arthur Ransom, obviously, because I'm connected with him. We've got many different books. Margaret Thatcher. Not really. That's not important. It's just a minor thing, but we've got multiple copies of that book. Right. Do I like famous people's autobiography? Depends who it is. I like to read people's books and see what I think of them. Right. Right. No, I enjoy lots of people's books. I read a lot, so if your mother was a socialist, what did your father think about having Margaret Thatcher's books? Well, my mother spent time with her socialist friends, and my father spent time with Margaret Thatcher. So we all spent time together, didn't we? Simple as that. People can get along Politics does not need to define you. You can be friends across the floor. It's not a hard thing to do actually. So no, it was the most easy thing of all was, Kinnock and Thatcher. It was easy peasy. They didn't actually dislike one another. No, there we go. No problem on that front. Right. So your next question. Throw me another question. Margaret Thatcher helped council house like me go to university, says T-Gun. Quite right, yes. Margaret Thatcher was a lady from a grammar. She grew up. She was a shopkeeper's daughter. She was not a snob. I don't understand why people are so nasty about Margaret in that regard, because Margaret was actually anti-nobody. So well done. Thank you. Margaret Thatcher helped you go to university. I think that's great. I celebrate that. Margaret was one of the best people in history. I will, everyone says Churchill was the best leader on the planet, but no. Whoa. Churchill was a wonderful leader in the war, but Churchill was not a wonderful peace leader. Margaret was the first woman who came in, and she dealt with everything, and she dealt with it for a lot longer than he did. So she was absolutely the best, simply the best in all of the West. And yeah, she managed to cope with Gorbachev. She managed to cope with all the rest of them. She dealt with the whole lot. Well done to Margaret. Margaret was a heroine. In fact, heroine is what she would have liked to be called. She didn't like the word hero because she was a woman. So she was a heroine, actually. Yes, heroine. I stand corrected. Right, there we go. Socio Mario says, I don't believe she knew about Savile's antics. I don't know what she knew about Savile because I'd never asked her about it because it never came up in conversation between her and I, so I can't possibly comment. But Savile was a vile man who tricked a lot of people. He tricked the king. He tricked her. He tricked many other people. Jimmy Savile was a tricking bastard who did a lot of bad things. But I don't think that those two were the people who were really... What did they really do? They met him. There are other people who spent time with him. Jimmy Savile spent time with Sir Cliff Richard, with Lord Boothby together. Now, why is no one going on about that? Don't pick on Margaret Thatcher and King Charles. Pick on that. That's a more interesting story, I'd say. Pick on a real story. Leave the king alone, because Margaret Thatcher is dead, so it doesn't really matter what you say about her. Whatever you're going to say about her, you can say anyway. So it doesn't matter if I try and defend her, even though I will defend her. Margaret Thatcher is not to be criticised in this regard. I would say criticize Sir Cliff Richard. He's a living person who has an association with these shady people. So go on, go after that. The creepy Christian crooner, the absolute creep, the friend of Cilla Black, who's another creep who, seemed to always be associated with every one of the wrong uns. Go after those two, creepy people, but she's dead too, so you have to give her a pass as well. In fact, because you can't really go after her because she's dead. But no, I will stand up for my belief. Sorry, there we go. So next question. A living doll. Yep, he is a living doll. Yes, the old creepy Christian crooner. I can tell you, I've met people who have disliked him more than anyone else on the planet. He is scary beyond belief. Right. I remember Joanna Lumley once saying Savile was weird and at the top of the BBC knew it. Well, yeah, but she did nothing about it, did she? There we go. But I don't criticize Joanna. She's a lovely lady. I don't know. I've never heard her being criticized. Have I ever met Esther Ranson? No, but I know her nephew. Her nephew is married to Gina Miller, the lady who tried to stop Brexit. There we go. Right. Bill Wyman. Okay, I don't know anything about the Bill Wyman scandal. Don't know anything about it. Never met Bill Wyman, never met Mandy Smith, never met any of these people. Okay. Right. 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 Okay. So which one next? Esther Rancid. Yes. No, I don't like Esther Ranson. I think the woman is a bit odd, but there we go. You're attacking Margaret Thatcher for trying to get Margaret Thatcher to get Jimmy Savile on the honour system. Well, Margaret was a kind and decent lady who changed the world. And I'm very lucky to have known Margaret Thatcher. I am one of the most lucky people on the planet. So I'm not going to agree with you. But, you have your view, don't you? You don't think that Margaret was a very nice lady, and I'm not going to repeat your nasty words because your nasty words are untrue. Margaret Thatcher was one of the best people on the planet. So, retro by request. No, I won't be agreeing with you. Please, no. No. Margaret, I'm so lucky to have known the best prime minister ever to have lived. And you insult her in that way, and I don't like what you said, so I'm very upset. But anyway, never mind. Doesn't matter. I don't agree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion. That's all I shall say. Right. Okay, let's move on to a different topic, please, because I don't need any more of this abuse from these kind of people. No, thank you. No, and no more. Thank you. It's not correct to criticize Margaret in my presence because I'm never going to agree with you. I wish, I believe people are quite rightly, Margaret Thatcher, milk snatcher, as you call her. You all have all these views. Yes, that's fine. No problem with that. You don't like her. That's fair enough. My mother didn't like Margaret very much either for her policies, but my mother liked her as a personality. As a personality, she was wonderful in my mother's view. Even though my mother didn't agree with her politics, she respected her personality. And that is a very important thing in the world. What's my James Bond movie of choice? I don't have favorite things, as I've always told you. But I wouldn't mind right now having a Vespa Martini, but unfortunately I've got no one to make me one. I haven't got the ingredients. I'd love a Vespa Martini right now, but no one can make me one. So, that's a great shame, isn't it? I'd love one of those. So,
Sonny, go get order one.
Madam in the background is shouting, "Order one." Well, it's a little bit impossible to order one when we haven't got the ingredients.
That's not.
Anyway, I did respect Margaret when she stood up defiant against the IRA. Well, having personally suffered the same thing with her, one has to stand up to the IRA. The IRA are evil people. The IRA are appalling, evil, sick people. And what they do to people is disgusting. And, well, what they did, sorry. There we go. Yes, of course, the cocktail reference was picked up upon. There we are. Anyway, never mind. There we go. Where can we send you drinks? Well, please send me an email at editorial@thesteepletimes and I'll send you an address. That's very kind of you. I really do need them right now. As you can see, it's rather hard work. But there we go. You wish she hadn't sold off the housing stock. Well, that gave people the right to have a home. Most people I know who bought those homes were very grateful and very happy to receive those homes. So I don't know. There's no point discussing things with a nutcase you found out to your cost, says Amanda. Yes, well, there we go. Any news on the Stuart Lubbock case? Well, sadly not. No. Moonbeep is talking about Sir Mark. Well, I'm not a friend of Sir Mark. I'm more of a friend of Carol. I like Carol. Sir Mark, life is life. Things happen. Jane asks, is it true the Queen and the Margaret didn't get on? I don't know. How would I know? It's not for me to know that particular answer. But I think probably two women together was probably a bit fractious, wouldn't it? I would think, wouldn't you? I don't know. I've no idea. I could not answer the question. I can't answer things that I don't know. But Trevor says, I think the way she was treated at the end of her career was vile. Yes, the Conservative Party were disgusting. Absolutely appalling. Margaret was a change maker. Margaret was a heroine. What were they? A bunch of pathetic little men. Pathetic. Awful. Miss Marple says, I think the Queen loved her sister, but Margaret was a bit of trouble, just like a similar situation now. Anyway, so, right, what have we... Right, we can go on to another topic, I think. I think it's time. Have I met Piers Morgan? Yes, I have met Piers Morgan, but I don't know him. I know his wife. When I knew her from when she worked at the Daily Telegraph. Right. Okay, I'll give you another topic, a quick one. A Pizza Express 33p sale. That's what they've been having. Pizza Express. They want to go back to the 1965 prices. You know, the Allen family, who I know very well, Wendy Allen, who runs, well, she did run Pizza Margherita in Lancashire and Yorkshire. They're on to their 60th birthday, so they're having a 33p sale as a joke for 1 hour today. Well, it's obviously over by now, but only 1 hour to claim it. This is a huge chain. Come on, Pizza Express. Why can't you do it properly? Why don't you have a proper, decent thing going on? But you're too busy with Prince Andrew. Yeah, Prince Andrew will be pleased. Absolutely pathetic joke. Publicity stunt. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. You know, where's Prince Andrew when you need him? Is Fergie going to turn up with Princess Beatrice and Eugenie? You know, we need a bit of Eugenie and Beatrice just to add to the moment. Oprah, take note. Come on. Yes. Well, we are getting noises in the background. I'm very sorry for the noises in the background. Yet again, I did try to caution her, but, well, it's impossible to control certain kinds of people, isn't it? So there we go. Anyway, you know, Pizza Express, shame on them. So, right, they deserve a kick up the bum. Absolutely. Right. Now we've got Meghan Markle with her merchandise, or as the you know, the influencers call it, merch. I hate the word merch. It's a terrible thing to say. She's got an Instagram shop. She's selling a sleeveless Heidi Merrick Windsor gown. Windsor. She's called it Windsor gown for £1,068, £600. The rest of it, I haven't got the exact numbers. Saint Laurent sandals, earrings at £200. She's doing £148 for a linen shirt, bracelets 400 quid, 400 euro, I suppose, dollars. And she says, please note, some products may contain commissionable links. Well, she's crashed the websites of many companies, including Neiman Marcus. She's tacky, she's tawdry, and she's predictable. And as Graydon Carter said of, you know, Vanity Fair, this woman is slightly adrift on the facts and reality. The Daily Mail says Sussex for sale. What do you think of Meghan Markle's attempt to sell merch, as they call it, merch, which I hate the word, merchandise? She has got her Instagram shop. Absolutely appalling. Have I ever met Prince Andrew? Asks Jane. Yes, I have met Prince Andrew. He is not a nice man. Awful, ghastly man. What's my thoughts on the JFK files being released? Well, nothing was released. It was a load of boring rubbish, absolutely pointless, nothing added to the agenda. So tedious, load of crap, basically, load of horse shit. Right. Prince Archie is August. I don't know what that means. How greedy is Meghan? She's very greedy, yes. Meghan is kidding herself, or is she a nobody? Well, she is making a lot of money. She's a good old grifter. She'll make a lot of money out of this because clearly she crashed websites when this was all released. So a bit of money was made. Meghan Markle, whatever, next Poundland Windsor. Well, I think you're right there, Trevor. That's how she belongs. She is Poundland, yeah. Right. Okay. There we are. So that's what we have to say on. We've done Pizza Express. We've done that. Yes, we've got the whining oil woman, Guy Delap. She is whining again. So I'm not very happy with her. But she really is a pain in the neck. This filthy old pensioner should put a bloody sock in it. Why can't she shut her mouth and stop whinging about what happened to her in prison? She is disgraceful. Guy Delap, the Quaker woman who is Just Stop Oil, she couldn't cope with prison because she couldn't cope with her physical inabilities, but she was able to climb a gantry on the M25. So let's know what do you think of Guy Delap, the whining Just Stop Oil protester? I say lock her up, put her back in prison, throw her back in the clink. She is a pain and a pest, and she needs locking up. Lock her up for life. She's a creep. You know, these Just Stop Oil people who throw paint over Van Gogh paintings. It's nothing to do with oil. Stupid people. They're thick. They're born in a barn. And as for her, she's just a moron. And just because they couldn't get a clip on her leg, which is what she needed, allegedly. I don't think she needed a clip on her leg. I'd say keep her in the prison. Throw her in the bloody jail. And throw away the key. That's what I want to do with her. The old grifter. Yes, so what do you think of Guy Delap? Any views? Nope. No views yet. Right, no views. Maybe it's frozen or something. Oh well. Nope, no views on Guy Delap. Never heard of him. Oh, well, there we go. Right. Well, you're very lucky. This creepy old woman, decided to climb the gantry on the M25 and make a fool of herself. And then when they put her in prison, age 78, she moaned because it was her birthday. She couldn't have a birthday with her grandchildren. Stupid old bag. And then she moaned again because when they tried to release her, they couldn't put an ankle tag on her because she was meant to have curfew. but her ankle was so thin because she's such a weirdo, because she's obviously a bit inbred or a bit thick or a bit weird, or something fucking wrong with her, that she couldn't have her ankle tagged. That was her latest claim. The woman's a complete liar. She's a fraudster. And she's some kind of Quaker, and she's some oddity. She's completely... She's one of those ones. Mad woman. Lock her up. Throw away the key. That's what it's all about, really. Anyway. You've never heard of her. She's a silly old lady. Yep, precisely. She should be banned. Precisely, I agree with you. Your ankles are very thin, says Pauline. Was she on Quaker Oats? Well, she claims to be a Quaker, yes. She's very religious. Oh, yeah, she's very this, that, and the other when it suits her. The woman is a complete pest. You'd like me to be Judge Steeples, yes. Well, my father was a magistrate, so yes. I do have views, but I don't think I'd be very pleasant in sentencing people like her. In the case of the M25 Quaker protester, I don't think she'd get a very nice sentence from me. I think she might get sentenced to life, because I don't like what the nuisance she's caused to so many people, and the arrogance of her afterwards, because this would be a subsequent sentence. This would not be the initial sentence. This would be as a result of her current behavior. So I could only sentence her on that. So I would sentence her to very bad things. But it would not be a very nice sentence for her. But there are plenty of people who deserve to have their sentences removed and reduced. And, I'm a great believer in that. So I'm not a nasty person. But no, I would never be a judge of any form, because it wouldn't be correct. Because I'm a campaigner. There we go. Right. John Miller says I'd be a hanging judge. No, I would not hang everybody. No. No. Definitely not. Right. The old ladies in the church trying to destroy. I don't know. What old church? I don't know which church we're talking about. The old ladies in the church. I think you've got the wrong place. Whoever you are, Pauline Makepeace, I think you've got the wrong place. We don't know anything about old ladies in churches trying to destroy things. I don't know what you're talking about. Utterly no idea. You keep writing, we will try again. No. You've got the wrong place, Pauline. I don't know who you are, but please. I think you've got the wrong thing. Do I think that prisons are overcrowded in Britain? No, not that I'm aware of from everybody I know who's in prison. So they don't moan about it. They cope with it. Does the Isle of Man still have the birch? That's something I can't answer. You have to ask the Isle of Man government. I don't know. Don't know. Right. Well, anyway. Right. Okay. So, right. Anyway, I'm quickly going to go and use the bathroom myself, and then I'll give you a quiz because I don't think we're going to get through all my stories for tonight. We can save the stories for tomorrow. I think that's probably a better idea. I'll be back shortly. Right. Now, hello. Yes. So, I'm very sorry I had to disappear, but it was probably a wise idea before I start this quiz, or I talk about another topic, or we'll talk about another topic first. So, anyway, there we go. So, right. Let me think. Shall we? Well, we don't want to talk about Julia. No. So, right. Okay. I think we'll go with the quiz for now. And then we can have more questions afterwards. So, right. The first part of the quiz is what are the three purposes? One will do. You can have one of the three of the bump called a nonic on a pint glass. So in a beer glass, a pint glass, what is the point of the nonic? The thing that gives it a bit of a the bit of a thing at the top. And we need someone to take notes because I'm going to be useless. Well, I will. It's not a measure. It's not a widget. It's not stop the ice. It's not just to make sure the correct amount of beer is in the glass. Bess is getting nearer with stacking. Yes, Bess. Well, you can have the point, Bess, because it does help stacking, so you can have it. Bess, it's a stacking. One part of it was to stack the glass's delicate rim if it gets knocked over. But really, it was to give the drinker a better grip on slippery, condensated surfaces. It was to make glasses incredibly easy to stack. It protects the delicate rim if the glass gets knocked over. It was invented by Hugo Pick in 1913 to provide an improved drinking glass. So, well done, Bess. Bess, you get the point. Bess, you can have the point. We'll let you have it because you said stacking. Right. Who wrote, directed, and co-produced the 2023 black comedy thriller film Saltburn? Who wrote that? The daughter of a jeweler friend of mine. Right. So who wrote it? Anyone? Nobody. It wasn't Janet Evans. Oh, you now love Janet Evans as much as you love Anthea Turner. We all love to hate Janet and Janet Spa. Oh my God, it wasn't Janet. No. Janet will now be becoming like the new Anthea Turner on this channel. Janet. Oh, I hope Janet's watching because she's an absolute bitch. Evil cow. Right. Right. It wasn't Dennis Waterman. It wasn't Pip Field. You can have the point with Emerald Fennell. Pip Field gets the point. Well done to Pip Field. Thank you to Pip Field. Emerald made a lovely film. It was a pretty scary film, in my view. It was pretty sinister. I don't know quite what inspired some of the scenes in that film. I did watch it in the cinema in Broadstairs, and I was a little bit, my God. Anyway, never mind. Right. Next question. Who was the author, and then this gets darker and darker, of the 1955 psychological thriller, The Talented Mr. Ripley? She kept snails as pets. She was very eccentric. She set her hair on fire. She was a lesbian. She hated women. She was a very strange woman. Who was that author? Right. It wasn't Hitchcock. It wasn't J.R. Hartley. It wasn't Barbara Hightower. Linda Jo gets the point. It was Patricia Highsmith. So no, Patricia Highsmith was a very strange lady. She was a lesbian who hated women. And she kept snails in her handbag. She considered them her pets. She was a very, very odd woman, but a brilliant author. But she was fascist, racist, bigoted, and nasty. That's all I can say that I know of her. I have been fascinated by her over the years because I enjoyed the book. And of course, one adaptation of the thing was called High Noon. There we go. But there's another one coming out, or has come out shortly, or did come out shortly. There we go. Which European city hosted the Summer Olympics in 1936? Which city hosted it in 1936? It wasn't Paris. And it wasn't Munich. So Enigma gets the point with Berlin. Of course, Hitler very controversially upset lots of people. So there we go. Which British Australian sang A Mysterious Girl in 1995? Which British Australian? And we need the full name. The full name. Best 2016, you can have that point. So everybody is on 1 point at the moment. It was Peter Andre. Who had a little bit of a fling with, he married Katie Price. Which American is associated with the 27 murder of Meredith Kercher in Perugia, Italy? She was then involved in a wrongful conviction, a slander conviction. What is the name of the woman? What is the name of the woman? It's not Diddy. It's not Foxy Roxy. We need the proper name. We need the real name of the woman. It wasn't Foxy Brown. Which American is associated with the 2007? Okay, Enigma now goes into the lead because the answer is Amanda Knox. Well done to you. Right. What title is given to the presiding officer of the House of Commons? Miss Marple gets a point with Speaker. The Speaker. I'll allow that. It is actually the Speaker of the House of Commons. Right. In what business sector does Knight Frank operate? Knight Frank. One of you might know this. Knight Frank. Miss Marple gets a second point, which takes you into joint first. It is real estate. Of course, Knight Frank was founded in 1896 as a Knight Frank and Rutley. It has 20,000 workers and 488 officers. Lots of them on the south of France. In which year did Knight Frank and Rutley sell Fountains Abbey in North Yorkshire for £1 million? Which year did they sell Fountains Abbey in North Yorkshire for £1 million? Right, your answer's not very good. Nope, none of you get it right. Nope, none of you get it right. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so we'll give you a failure of all of you on this one. The answer was 1974, and then it was sold again to the National Trust in 1983. So out of the 20 questions, we're now down to 18. So if we have any kind of tie break like we did last night, no. So you didn't know the answer to that. In which year did so I'm going to give you another bad question that you're going to struggle with. In which year did Knight, Frank, and Rutley sell Stonehenge to Sir Cecil Chubb, a barrister, as a gift for his wife? Which year was that sold to? It wasn't 1962, it wasn't 1923, it wasn't 1902, it was 1934, it wasn't 1920. Right. No. Pipfield gets the point. Well done, Pipfield. So you've now got another point. It was 1915. So, right. They gave it to the nation subsequently in 1918, bought on a whim for £6,600 to stop overseas buyers taking the stones overseas. So there you go. You've learned something new. They saved Stonehenge for the nation in 1915. There we go. Right, next question. What is the 413-acre Rikers Island in the East River in the Bronx used for? What is it? What is Rikers Island used for? What is Rikers Island? The Hey Tigers gets it straight away. Well done to Hey Tigers. I think you were first. Yes, Hey Tigers. Hey Tigers. It is a prison, of course. Rikers Island is. I found my notes. Since 1932, a prison for abuse, violence, terrible things have gone on there. In 1957, a plane even crashed there, killing 20. Okay. In which country was the fraudster Anna Sorokin, also known as Anna Delvey, born in 1991? Which country was she born in? Anna Sorokin, also known as Anna Delvey. It wasn't prison, no. Which country was she born in 1991? You may have heard of her from Investing Anna on Netflix. That's my clue to you. She refused to go to court unless she could wear Victoria Beckham clothing or Michael Kors. She was a bit of a tempestuous pest. Anyway, you don't even seem to know who she is. Anna Sorokin, Anna Delvey. No. Oh. Right. Oh, here we go. We have got nobody. She wasn't born in Garbage or Butlins. Okay. She wasn't born on Rikers Island, but that's where she ended up. Yes. It wasn't Ukraine. Enigma can have the point, which takes Enigma into the lead. She was born in Russia. There we are. Right. So we'll allow Enigma to have the point. Next question. What did Anna Sorokin, same woman, wear when she appeared on Dancing with the Stars in September 24? What was she made to wear? It wasn't Chanel. No. It wasn't Prada. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't a gorilla outfit. It wasn't a bin bag. It wasn't a wig. It wasn't a fur coat. It wasn't a tutu. It wasn't a prison outfit. It wasn't a Russian hat. It wasn't shame. It wasn't an orange jumpsuit. It wasn't a bird costume, and it wasn't a leotard. It wasn't a bra. It wasn't very little, and it wasn't cling film. It wasn't a swimsuit. Elaine's getting close, but she's not quite there. But I won't accept Elaine's answer because you haven't expressed it correctly. It wasn't Primark. No. It wasn't tap shoes. It wasn't an ankle. Well, actually, Adam, you get the point. Adam gets the point because, of course, she wore an electronic ankle tag because she was still a prisoner. And there we go. So she wore what the Americans call a ICE mandated ankle monitor. She was one of the first to have eliminated with various other people. Okay. So, which producer of Dynasty, The Love Boat, and Beverly Hills 90210 built the manor at 594 South Mapleton Drive in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles, in 1988 at a cost of $12 million? Right. Well, the first of you who gets it is Nana Buster, because you've spelt the name correctly. We've got to have correct spelling. So Nana Buster gets a point. It was sold to Petra Eccleston in 2011 for $85 million. It is bigger than the White House and the Taj Mahal. It's 123 rooms. It's 56,000 square foot. It was the former Bing Crosby estate. There we go. What is Dom Perignon a brand of? What is Dom Perignon a brand of? Miss Marple gets the point. So Miss Marple is now totally in the lead. 3 points to Miss Marple. It's, of course, champagne. Introduced in 1921, named after a Benedictine monk. What sport is Lawrence Dallaglio associated with? He won 85 caps. What sport? It's not golf. Miss Marple gets a 4th point. It is rugby, of course. Well done to Miss Marple. In which disaster on the River Thames did Lawrence Dallaglio's sister Francesca tragically die on the 20th of August 1989, along with 50 others? Joyce Grove gets the point. Joyce Grove, it is the Marchioness. Yes, it's the Marchioness disaster. Terrible thing, hey? Right. Right, you get 1 point. Not that that's a thing to celebrate, but anyway. To the memory of Lawrence Dallaglio's sister. I never obviously met this person, but very sad. How appalling. Right. What was the Royal Humane Society founded as in 1774 to achieve? What was the Royal Humane Society founded as? It was nothing to do with animals, no. Horses. It was nothing to do with horse health. It was nothing to do with coos. It was not it wasn't the RSPCA. River safety comes close. It was not that, though. Okay, I suppose river safety is a fair thing close. So no, it was nothing to do with lifeboats. No, or homelessness. It wasn't to do with forestry. It wasn't to do with barge horses. I don't know what a barge horse is. Opinion says it was right. It was people who were apparently drowned. Yes, correct. Opinion, you can have a point. Not that you will win anything, but no. Right. It was to do with the recovery of persons apparently drowned. That was what it was for. My next question is, what is the size of Hyde Park in acres? I need the exact number. It's not 2 acres. It's not 432. It's not 100. It's not 30. It's not 3.4. It's not 1,500. It's not 5,000. It's not big. Okay. It's not 750. It's not 1,500. It's not 18. It's not 25. It's not 8,465. 350 is our closest. So, hey, Tiggers, you can have the point. Hey, Tiggers. Right. I'll allow it because it is 351. You are very close. Right. On its western side, which park does Hyde Park merge into? On its western side, which park is Hyde Park merging into? The name. It is not Regent's Park. It's not Green Park because that's not west. I need the proper name. I'll allow Joyce Grove to have the point. Joyce Grove. You now get another point. It's Kensington Gardens, but there we go. So our winner, of course, is Miss Marple. Thank you, Miss Marple. Again, you are very good at quizzes. Thank you, Miss Marple. I spend a lot of time writing these quizzes. It's a lot of work for me. And, there we are. So, never mind. Anyway, I think Miss Marple, well done to you. Thank you for joining in. I'll try and think of some more strange questions. I've got another 4 at least going on ready for you. So there we go. Anyway, right. Don't worry. I'll probably put this all into a book. It might be a good idea because then other people can enjoy it. Stupid questions. I'm not that tired. No, I'm not that tired. I'm just a little bit annoyed with, the situation. There we go. Anyway, never mind. I did it. I kept going because you see, that's the thing about me. I just carry on. Even in adversity, I just carry on. When I'm even upset, I just carry on. I can keep going. I don't stop. But anyway, never mind. You love my quizzes. That's very kind of you. Thank you for you to say. Right. As for the other one, well, no comment to make. fast asleep. Probably better that way. Much better that way. But don't worry, I'll be back in England soon, so that's my plan. Yes, I am coming back to England. That is my plan in the next few days, because that's what I need to do. I need my sanity back. You want me to come to Scotland? Yes. Well, I'd love to come to Scotland. Yes, that's another possibility. Right. Anyway, no. Eventually, we'll figure it out. No. The answer to your question is no, Adam. No. Most definitely no. I realize you enjoy the involvement of other parties, but sometimes I need a break. It's very wearing. Enough is enough, and I'm very sorry I can't do any more of it. So her bloody daughter needs to deal with it. That's what I say. Enough is enough. Not fair to me. I am exhausted. Yes. Absolutely worn out. Elaine says, I've been in the same situation. I know how it gets to you. Yep. And that's how I feel. I can't do any more of this. I'm done. Absolutely done. Yep. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter. Life moves in the way it has to move. So we all move along and we'll go wherever we go next. And that's what's going to happen. And, yep. Got to get my own life back, haven't I? So that's what I will be doing. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, let's talk about something more positive. Any more questions for me, please? Thank you. Please, questions. Instead, let's up the game and just. It doesn't matter for tonight. I don't care. I can talk about anything. So, come on, fire the questions away. It's nothing to do with alcohol. Yep, it's going to be a new chapter. Yes, most definitely. You want my kidnap story? I don't want to do the kid. Well, when I was okay, I'll do the kidnap story. I'll do the kidnap story if you want. Okay. Yeah. So lovely, lovely, lovely people. So off I went on a little mission for my father, delivering leaflets for the Conservative Party. And I went up a little lane to a place called Starbank Cottage. And at Starbank Cottage, I don't know why I'm telling this story because this is not a good memory for me. So you're actually making me feel miserable. But you're going to get a funny story. Anyway, so we got to Starbank. I got to Starbank Cottage. You know, I'd been to all the other cottages and farmhouses and little places up the road. the council house estate and everything else on this particular road from the Dolphin Home village. And you can look it all up on a map. I'm not making it up. So I went up this little lane and I get to this Starbank cottage, and there's no letterbox. And me being a silly little child that I was, because I was about 10 years old or whatever I was, I banged on the door and said, "I'm here to bring you a leaflet from the Conservative Party." And she said, "What is your religious view?" And then she grabbed me by the arm, this horrible woman, and I was dragged in. So I had to endure this woman for hours on end. And I really did experience one of the most horrible things in my life. This wicked, mad woman. So her first question to me, once she'd taken me into her kitchen, and she dragged me in, what she really did was, what do you think of the local village shop? I said, "Well, the local village shop's very nice." I said, "I go there sometimes and I have some sweets from there." She didn't like that. She said, "The local village shop is evil." She said, "The local village shop sells dreadful items." I think she accused them of selling witchcraft, or what Halloween witchcraft. I think, or Halloween items, I suppose, was what she accused them of. And I said, "Well, they were a very nice shop." And she said, "Do you go to the local church?" I said, "No." I was a 10-year-old child. It's not really. No, I didn't go to the church. She said, "They allow the Methodist church." Because there were two churches. There was a Church of England church and there was a Methodist church. I can't remember which one she attacked first. But she said, of the Methodist church, she said, "They allow divorced people to get married." She said, "I put a stop to that." I said, "Well, that's not a very nice thing to do." And then I realized to shut my mouth. After that, I kept my mouth shut. And literally everything she went through, she literally had she didn't like people doing this. She didn't like people doing that. This lunatic. Anyway, she kept me there. And I kept saying, "I've got to go now." And I was a 10-year-old child on a bicycle delivering leaflets. I was not meant to be kept prisoner, but this bitch decided to keep me a prisoner. She was horrible. She was very nasty. And I didn't know what to do. And she said, "Would you like some lemonade?" And I'd been trained by my parents, thank God. Don't take stranger danger, I didn't take a single drop of the stuff. But she threw me in a cupboard. This horrible woman. This was the most horrible thing that ever happened to me. And I don't know really how I don't like talking about it, to be honest. She locked me up, and that was that. Anyway, she did what she did, and then her husband came home, and he said, "Now, madam, what have you done now?" And he knew, and I kicked her. I kicked one of them. I can't remember which one I kicked, and then I ran, and that was how I got out of them. I never got my bike back. No. Yeah. And she was part of a cult. She was a lovely lady, delightful person. There you go. She was ultimately sectioned, so it's not as if I didn't get some kind of justice, but it wasn't very nice to be kidnapped. I was locked up in a cupboard for hours by her. She locked me up in a cupboard. She was not a nice lady. But I survived, and it doesn't really matter because I'm still here now, aren't I? So, guess what? At the end of the day, I've survived. I'm very sorry. I just don't like talking about it. No, it's not poor Matthew. Please don't say that. It's not poor me. I did survive, but the woman was a nutcase. No, but I'm very, very lucky. That's all I will say. I don't want to talk about it anymore, so please stop asking me questions about it. I don't know why I'm even being asked questions about this. This is boring. I've had enough. I've done it. I've told you the story. That's enough. Did she go to jail? No, she was sectioned. Yes, she was sectioned ultimately because she's a nutcase. But I don't want to talk about it anymore. I really don't. No. What's my favorite airline? I don't know what that's got to do with anything. I don't really like airlines. No. I don't like any airlines. No. None. Zero. None. No. Well, no, I just don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done with this. I'm very sorry. It's not something, it's just something I've told you the story. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Have I met Eddie the Eagle? Yes, I have. I think he was fabulous. Lovely man. There we go. That's the only question I'm going to answer out of all this. I just don't want to talk about all these. I don't understand the desire to break up this. I'm not very happy about it. Anyway, never mind. Doesn't matter. She was a horrible, horrible woman, the kidnapper. A wicked woman. She fed me lemonade and She thought that the lemonade, which was poisoned, obviously, she could do what she wanted, and her husband was. She was one of the nastiest people I've ever come across. She lived in a house called Starbank Cottage. Have you ever had a cat or a dog? I've had lots of dogs, yes. My first dog was called Oscar. It was an English pointer, one of the most wonderful creatures in the world. Lovely dog. But anyway, I'm going to go to bed soon, and I'll talk to you all again tomorrow, perhaps. But I don't think. Did I ever meet Andy Peters? No, never met him. Thank God. You have a dog called Beowulf. Well, that's a nice name for a dog. Lovely. I wish you. Would I ever go on Big Brother? No. Don't want to do that. No thanks. Would I consider running for London Mayor? I don't think I'd ever win, so no. Probably no. Thank you. No. Would I be brilliant on The Traitors? I don't know what this Traitors is. I've never watched it, so don't know. No, so can't do that. Have I met Ant and Dec? I don't know which one's Ant and which one's Dec, so I can't even possibly be involved in that. Have I a favourite musician or a musician? A favourite music or musician, sorry. Well, no, I like lots of kinds of music, so no. There we are. Right. Anyway, I wish you all happiness galore. Have a lovely evening. Take care. And lots of love to you all. You're all fabulous. You've been great supporters. You've been wonderful. And perhaps it's time I go to bed. I think that's probably the best thing that happens. I don't need to go on like this. And yes, some of you have brought up memories from my past, such as, Starbank Cottage. I don't like being reminded of Starbank Cottage. I will tell you that. So it's better off I go to bed. Starbank Cottage is one of the worst memories I have in my life. I will admit that. So that wicked woman who owned Starbank Cottage and her husband, but it wasn't his fault. He was just a school teacher. He didn't do anything wrong, but she is a very wicked woman. So no, I will share with the world that Mrs. Starbank Cottage was a creep. A nasty, evil woman who manipulated me. So, yeah. Starbank Cottage Dolphin Home woman was a very vicious, evil, manipulative bitch. Let's be honest. And she was part of a cult. and she really didn't like other people. She was very vicious. And I, sadly, was a victim of her cult. Yep. Not going to change my view. There you go. Said it for now. Okay. So, for the modern age, I've now said it. I've told the truth to the camera. My mother and father will be furious because they would rather I'd probably say nothing about this. But I'm going to speak out. I don't like what those two did to me, so there you go. I speak out. I am an honest person, and I'm not going to let anyone shut me up. But the abuse that occurred by those two, they locked me in a cupboard. That woman locked me in a cupboard for several hours. Who is telling the truth here? Me or them? Right, you found it on the internet. Yes, it does look like a pretty remote cottage. It looks scary. Precisely. There we go. Hello, Lady Min. Wake up for once in your bloody life. Now, when I was kidnapped.
What?
When I was kidnapped.
What?
When I was kidnapped as a child.
Kidnapped in the shower.
Oh, she can't even accept the fact I was kidnapped.
Who was kidnapped in this?
I was kidnapped. Me.
You. When?
Don't worry about. See, she doesn't even care.
I do care.
Nobody even cares. See, they
when you were kidnapped in the shower.
No, not in a shower.
In what?
Well, anyway, she doesn't even have an ounce of interest in the story. There's no point even bringing her into it. Anyway, no, I was held hostage by them in that bloody cottage. And, everyone else has known it. Everybody else has known it. From when I was a child, age 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever I was. This is an absolutely appalling thing. And here I am, still now, speaking out against those people, because they are part of a cult. That bloody woman got away with it. She's a wicked witch. But I can't do anything about her because, everyone's forgiven her. She ruined the village shop. She ruined the church. She ruined this. She ruined that. She ruined the other. And then I was just somebody who she locked in a cupboard. I was locked up in a cupboard for hours on end, maybe 3, maybe 4 hours, by this horrible woman. And she got away with it. Because my father, my stupid father, and I won't forgive him for this, I'm very angry with him about it, and he knows this. He's always known this. But it doesn't matter because he since then she's done so many other crimes that it doesn't matter about what she did to me. He just says, oh, we don't want any publicity to do with the family because that's how my father is. My father doesn't want any problems. I understand how my father thinks. But with her, I went there and there was no letterbox. And I was the most stupid, moronic idiot. I was maybe 10 years old, perhaps, maybe 10 years old. I don't know what year I was born, what age I was. I had a bicycle. I got on my bicycle and up this Starbank Lane, and all of you have seen it because all of you have looked it up. Because guess what? You're all on here going, yes, we know, we can see. You see how the distance on the lane is. So I went up the lane and I got to the house and there was no letterbox. So I banged on the door. And I don't know why I did this. I wish I'd never done it. Because I don't know how old I was. I may have been 10. I may have been a bit younger. Or I may have been a bit older. I don't know. I can't remember. But I banged on the door. And she opened the door and she said, what do you want? This fat woman. And she was extremely fat. I remember her being very fat and ugly, and she had brown hair. And she said, what do you want? I said, I'm just here to give you a leaflet from the Conservative Party. Which is what my father had told me to say to everybody who had, because everybody else was very nice in the local community, not her. Just I got unlucky. I got her. And she said, you will come inside. I said, no, I don't want to come inside. And she said, you will. She said, you will come inside and have a glass of lemonade. And it was a sunny day. I remember it being very sunny. And she dragged me into this kitchen. She said, you will come in here. And I said, no, I really don't want. And I thought, I really have to not drink this. And I was very clever. I didn't drink it because I don't know what it would have been poison if I had drunk it because I knew what she was up to. So she literally said, you'd sit down here. And I went, no, I don't want to sit down. I said, I need to go because I need to go and deliver all the rest of the leaflets. I've got lots of leaflets to deliver. I hate talking about this. I really, I can't believe I'm being forced to do this again. But anyway, telling the story again, it upsets me. So I literally, I started. I said, look, please, I just want to go. I just need to get on with delivering my leaflets. I can't stay. Thank you for inviting me. It's very nice. She said, oh, no, you will wait for my husband. I said, I don't want to wait for your husband. And she said, you will wait. I said, well, I won't wait. So then she got more and more angry. And then she threw me in the cupboard. No, then she locked me in the cupboard. So I got locked in this cupboard. And this was the worst bit, and I hated it. And I was locked in a cupboard. And I was kicking the door and screaming and yelling. I don't think you realised what I went through. I was kidnapped. This lunatic woman. And I didn't know what to do. And then, I'm not going to bore you with all what happened next. It's boring. I don't want to talk about it. Now you're exhausting me with this. I don't want to talk about it. But what happened next was her husband and her son came home, and then they even realised what she'd done. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, God.
You got out and you're here to tell the tale.
Yeah, but you haven't been kidnapped in your life. I was.
Thank God.
I don't think you care. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's a horrible woman. But my parents just don't want any trouble with her. They're bored of her. Well, she's dead now, I'm sure. Her children aren't dead, but she's dead. She must be dead. Because she was about 80 when she did what she did. No, she's not 80. She was probably about 60 or something when she did what she did to me. So I suppose she could be alive, but... I was kidnapped. I don't think you realise how traumatizing what I went through was. She locked me in a cupboard. She was evil. She was so scary. And she kept hitting me with a stick. And I was in this cupboard, and it was shaped like that. And I was locked in this cupboard. I don't think you realise how nasty that can be. Do you understand? No, you couldn't care less. Nobody cares less. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Oh. Oh, right. Yes, it is a remote cottage. Yes. Anyway, I hope you're all having a nice evening. Sorry, my boring commentary in the background is utterly boring. I do apologize. Yes, if you look up the cottage, it's not a nice cottage. No. Well, anyway, I'm very thankful for all your support. You've all been very nice and very pleasant. Um, I thank you for all your kindness and consideration. Um, what happened to me when I was a child was appalling. You know, it wasn't a nice thing to be abused by such a horrible, wicked woman. But it wasn't the fault of my family. It was the fault of the horrible person that decided to do what she did. She decided to lock me in a cupboard, and she was a wicked, evil bitch. She was a horrible, horrible woman. Nobody else did anything bad. Everybody else was delightful and kind and wonderful. I had a wonderful childhood, other than that horrible woman. That horrible woman was a complete charlatan, a creep, and a crook. And nobody should excuse her behavior. No, definitely not. No. I stand by the wonderful people I'm very lucky to have been brought up spending time with. I had a wonderful life mostly in my childhood. So, no, I won't criticize anybody other than, that one. And it wasn't my mother's and father's fault. They just sent me off on a bicycle and I ended up going to meet this lunatic. Well, that wasn't their fault. I've never blamed my parents for meeting that freak. It's not their fault. The people I blame for that is the people who ran the cult. And I will never forgive those people and their cult. And that woman is a total psycho and a freak, and she's disgusting. Shame on her. Nobody should be allowed like her. I'm going to even find a bit more of this wine. I bought some wine today. Anyway, nobody should be allowed to abuse me in the way that I was abused. The way I was abused was horrible. I was a young person and I was mistreated in a very bad way. It was a very sick thing that happened as a result of, I was locked up in a cupboard. That's not very nice. To be locked up in a cupboard as a child is a horrible thing to happen to you. I was literally locked up by these psycho-religious freaks. It was a scary, horrible thing that happened to me. And I never, ever will forget it. And I'm never going to ever get over it. I will admit that. But I can cope with it. But it wasn't very nice. I was abused by these people. Awful. And it's hard to talk about. But it's not as bad as what happened to me, in the beginning, but never mind. Okay, I get over it. This is what you have to do when you've been through a situation.
Can I have a glass of wine, please?
And straight away here, I get, can I have a glass of wine?
Well, it doesn't matter.
That is the first question I get from somebody else. Instead of, I'm talking about how I've been abused by everybody. And I get, can I have a glass of wine? Well, that's what they want. Okay.
Well, but
That's
that's
how-
the trauma of this.
The trauma of this for her. Oh, well, yeah. What about poor old me? Right. Well, you can have your bloody wine. I'm going. I'm done. What a bloody.
Oh.
Have your wine. I can't believe this. I'm going.
Go to bed, leave me here.
Again, ruining my program.
Sorry? Thank you.
Ruining my program.
We need bottles here.
Ruined my program again. Anyway, never mind. Thank you very much to all of you. I'm very sorry for all the interruptions on this program. This program has been an utter disaster yet again because of the interruptions. I do apologize. I'm very sorry. It's very embarrassing. I really don't know what to say. I'd rather not talk about, the past, but other people in the background have not helped because they don't care about me. I didn't want to talk about the story of my situation with the mad woman, but I have, and now it's just awful. I do apologize to you all because my life has been very affected by what that woman did to me. And, now this has been turned into a complete joke. So I'm very upset and I'm very sorry. I'm very upset. I really am. I know you find it refreshing. It's not refreshing at all to me. You're hard on yourself. Right, well, it's better I just go away and leave her to it. She can do what she wants. No, it's not a joke. It is absolutely not a joke, and she seems to think it is. So there we are. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter. Um, yep, I am. I've been through quite a lot, yes. And I don't want to talk about it much more. I never wanted to talk about it in the first place. And she forced me to talk about it. And now she's done this to me. So, no, it's not fair, is it, really? I didn't want to be forced into talking about this. So, I don't feel very happy right now. No, I'm very unhappy. Very seriously unhappy. I don't want to talk about it because it was a very tough time for me. I don't think you realize what happened to me. Everybody who knows, who my friends who know care, and they don't force me to talk about it. It's not correct. And I'm upset now. I'm very, very upset. I will feel better, yes. Trust you. You're very kind. It's very kind of you to say. But no, I'm not very happy right now. No. No. I don't think it was quite correct of certain people to try and do what they did. So there we go. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They do what they do, but it's not fair. I don't think you realize that, when you are kidnapped as a child, it's not a very nice thing to happen. It's not therapeutic to talk, no. No. I don't want to talk about it. I've done enough talking about it. I'm bored of it. Alcohol makes it worse. Okay. Right. No. You. Right. Anyway. Right. Chapter 1 of Dickens. I don't know if I can read you chapter 1 of Dickens. I can't do that. I can't really do chapter 1 of Dickens because I don't know the exact words. Well, there's literally no alcohol in that book. Can you tell us about Lancaster Castle? Well, it's no longer a prison. There you go. I can tell you that. Lancaster Castle is no longer a prison, so there you go. Right. I can give you another quiz if that make you jolly. Would you like another quiz? Okay, would you like another quiz? I've got plenty of quizzes, so you could have a. We've got rid of that quiz, so We can have another quiz. Why not? They'll have to write some more. Would you like another quiz? Right. I'll give you another quiz before I go to bed because I don't need any more depression in my life. I don't need to be unhappy. So let's have something happy. Yes, let's have a quiz. Okay, let's have a quiz. Why not? Are you ready for another quiz? Right. That's the spirit. Yes, precisely. Let's have another quiz. Right. Who is the author of The Showman? Who is the author of The Showman? It's not Shakespeare, and it's not Victor Hugo, and it's not Janet Evans. It's definitely not Janet Evans, the old slapper Janet. Oh God, you don't want that old slag bag. Opinion gets the point. Okay, right. I need to get a piece of paper. Opinion gets the point. Okay, opinion. Opinion, you are the first point scorer. Well done to Opinion. Opinion. Right. Who began a storm warning system for shipping around Britain in 1860? Who was he? And he was totally initially ridiculed. What was his name? What was his name? We have to have his name. I want his name. He was an admiral, but I need his full name. It wasn't Mr. Forecast, and it wasn't Michael Fish. It wasn't Anthea Turner. I don't think Anthea Turner could open the barn door, but there we go. It wasn't Gareth Mock. It wasn't Simon. It wasn't Billy Joel. It wasn't the Matt Office. No. Right, you're not very good at this, are you? Who began a storm warning system for shipping around Britain in 1860? A storm warning. It wasn't Finisterre. It wasn't Beaufort. It wasn't Napoleon. It wasn't Admiral Crike. Whatever with the way your incorrect spelling, whatever. It wasn't Stephen Fry. No, he'd be utterly useless at anything. It wasn't Admiral Insurance. It wasn't My Shipping. It wasn't the Met Office. Nope. Okay, so none of you get a point. 0 points awarded for the second question. The answer is Admiral Fitzroy. So that Fitzroy is not going to be awarded to anyone. Nobody gets the point for Fitzroy. He was initially ridiculed. Which chain-smoking political strategist helped Ronald Reagan secure 8 years in the White House and also worked for South Africa's apartheid regime? What was his name? They said of him. It wasn't Muhammad Ali. It wasn't Donald Rumsfeld. It wasn't Kurt Waldheim. Nope. Nope. You're not getting any of. None of you getting this. It wasn't de Klerk, but he did work for de Klerk. It wasn't a German man. I didn't hear it. Okay, well, anyway, nobody gets that point, so we'll cancel that one. So it was Stuart Spencer. Stuart Spencer was gets stew, and he worked until January 2025. 400 campaigns. There we go. Which singer is associated with "I Want to Dance with Somebody"? Which singer is associated with the tune "I Want to Dance with Somebody"? This is a far easier question. So, which singer is associated with "I Want to Dance with Somebody"? Right. Miss Marple immediately gets the point. Well done, Miss Marple. 1 point to you. Of course, it is Whitney Houston. In the word 99, is the word AA acceptable in Scrabble? Is the word AA acceptable in Scrabble? Yes or no? Miss Marple gets the point. Well done. You're now in the lead because, of course, the word AA means volcanic lager in Scrabble. Okay, the next question equally is related to the same subject. Is the word EE acceptable in Scrabble? Yes or no? EE. Miss Marple says no. Well, you're wrong. Simon Coates, you're the winner. Yes, Simon Coates. The answer is yes. So Simon Coates gets 1 point. Well done to Simon Coates. Miss Marple, you've just, messed up. Oh dear. What is the news agency on Coronation Street called? And it's spelt with a K. What is the news agency called? It's not called Bernard Weverell. It's not called W.H. Smith. Miss Marple says The Cabin. So now you've got 3 points. You're well in the lead. Yes, The Cabin. It was run by Rita Mavis and Norris, amongst other people. In which country is Pegasus Bay Chardonnay produced? Which country of Pegasus Bay Chardonnay is produced? Which country? Hey Tiggers now gets a point. Well done, Hey Tiggers. New Zealand. So Hey Tiggers has got 1 point. So that's where the Pegasus Bay wine is produced. In which city would you find the Centenary Walk? The Centenary Walk. It's 2.3 miles, established 2005 to mark 105 miles of city status of a certain city, 41 points of interest. Which city would you find the Centenary Walk? It's not Venice, it's not London, it's not Edinburgh. Linda Joe. Well, Linda Joe gets the point. Linda Joe, you've got 1 point. Of course, it's Cardiff. In which county is Holcombe Hall located? Holcombe Hall. Where is Holcombe Hall? It's not Derby. Derby's not a county. It's not Derbyshire. It's not Suffolk. It's not Norwich. Hey Tigers gets a 2nd point with Norfolk. Well done. What type of plant is a Californian poppy? What type of plant is it?
Poppy.
Right. It's no. Well, none of you have got it correct, but it's an annual. So we won't accept any answer on that. 0 answers. Again, that's three questions you failed on. Right. In which valley was R.D. Blackmore's Lorna Doone set? Where was Lorna Doone set? It wasn't the Happy Valley, no. It wasn't Scotland, it wasn't why. No, where was it set? Devon is a close answer, but no, we need the correct answer because it is a real place. Well, you all are coming up with lots of close locations, but which valley was it set in? It wasn't Plymouth because it's not. Plymouth is not a valley. For example, it wasn't the Dorset Valley. There's no such thing. It wasn't the. Okay, well, none of you get a point. Okay, we'll wipe that out. Of course, it was the Doon Valley, the Dunes of Bagworthy, the Ore of all Devon, the Outlaws, the Traitors, and the Murderers. The Doon Valley, and not one of you got it correct. So, shame on you. Shame on you. Right, so that's 4 points we're down. Which artist was responsible for the creation of Adam in the Sistine Chapel? Which artist was the creation of Adam in the Sistine Chapel? It was not, well Michelangelo, straight away Simon Coates. So Simon Coates gets a second point. Well done, Simon Coates. Where do Prince Andrew and his feckless fool ex-wife currently live? What is the name of their house? Where Meghan Markle was first, of course, introduced to Queen Elizabeth II. Which is the name of the house? Linda Jo gets a second point. Well done. It is Royal Lodge. Right. Which is inspired? What inspired Charles Dickens to create Miss Havisham and Mr. Dick? Which island? Which island inspired them? Which island were they inspired by? Money? Jersey? Sicily? No. Jamaica. Linda Jo gets a third point. So Linda Jo, you are now in joint first place. Of course, it was the Isle of Wight. They extended stay in 1849. Which island is associated with the late Lord Glenconner? Which island is associated with the late Lord Glenconner? Also, Princess Margaret, Mick Jagger, Johnny Bendon. Right. Claudia G. You can have the point. Claudia G. Of course, it was Mustique. It was not Epstein Island, no. Where does Griff Rhys Jones have a holiday cottage that is available to rent to the public? Where does he have a holiday? Hey Tiggers gets the point with taking you into triple third. Yes, Wales, Pembrokeshire, Bethin Treherne. He has 75 acres on the Stramblehead coastline, and he even has 2 EV chargers. What is the profession of Lucinda Russell? Is the next question. What is the profession of Lucinda Russell? She's not a carpenter. She's not a doctor. She's not a dentist. Linda Jo gets a 4 point, which takes Linda Jo into the lead. Linda Jo, you are currently the winner. Of course, Linda Jo, Lucinda Russell is a horse racing trainer. She's a wonderful horse racing trainer. And finally, my final question, and this could decide it all. Otherwise, we'll have to go into a tiebreaker. What is the profession of Big Zoo? Big Zoo, spelled Bigzuu. What is the profession of Big Zoo? Right. John Miller gets the point. So, John Miller, you get the point. 1 point. Big Zoo, of course, is a chef and a YouTuber. So our winner tonight is Linda Jo. Thank you, Linda Jo. Well done, Linda Jo. Linda Jo, you're the winner for the night. Well done, love. Thank you. Cheers to Linda Jo. You did extremely well. Well done, Linda. Right. Thank you very much to all of you for joining in. Very kind of you. I don't really deserve a clap at all, no. Thank you for your hospitality. We did a double quiz, so right, we'll have to do another. We'll have to do another one tomorrow, won't we? So, anyway, never mind. Happiness galore. Anyway, I'll just say thank you very much for your kind consideration. Do I like history? Yes, I love history. But soon I must go to bed. I must really go to sleep. There comes a point where you have to go to sleep. But you know, I just keep going. That's how I keep doing it. I do need to go to sleep though soon. So yes, I must go to sleep. I thank you for your kind, patient. It's ridiculous. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm absolutely exhausted. But this is what happens to me. But anyway, I'll soon be back in England, and then I'll be better. I need my own space. I'm exhausted. So it's time to go to sleep. Yep. But thank you. Anyway, I shall go to bed soon. Thank you. As for other things, yep, well, doesn't really matter. Just let them do whatever they wish to do. Their life moves on. Thank you for your kindness. You've been very kind. But it's time for me to go to bed. I do agree. I'm exhausted. And I was exhausted last night, but I'm more exhausted tonight. So I'm very tired. And I don't need any more of this. I just can't do any more of it. So I need to go to sleep. And then I'll be gone. Don't worry. Thank you. Night, night. Anyway, I think I shall turn this channel thing off. I think it's probably better. Tomorrow is a new day, yes, I agree. But I just need to go to bed tonight because I'm exhausted. I'm worn out. I'm absolutely tired. And I don't need anybody wasting my time anymore. I don't need other people bothering me. I can't do any more of this. I'm absolutely exhausted. And their behavior is not helping. So it's time for me to go to bed. Anyway, good night. Thank you. It would be nice to say goodbye in a nicer way, but I say thank you. That's all I say. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh. Binge.